Hello, welcome back to the Bookla channel. In today's episode, we are building a booking website for a dentist clinic. This booking system will manage the agenda of different professionals, include dynamic pricing, upselling capabilities, terms and conditions, a payment gateway, notifications, reminders, rescheduling and cancellation policies, and even automatic refunds. So if you are ready to build the most professional booking website for a dentist, let's begin. The first thing that we need to do as web developers before building a dentist website is to go and evaluate a real dentist website, so we can understand what it has, what it doesn't have, and what it should have that it doesn't have. If it's not clear, let's just look for one and we can figure out what they have that is working and what they have that is not working and what they're missing. So before you say that this is a made-up website, I want to show you that I live right here according to this location. This is my live location right here. And then we're going to look for one that is close to my home. So I'm not even looking for the worst out there. I'm just going to find this one right here. Dental clinic. And they do have a website. Oh, this is going to be... Okay, the first thing that I can see is that we're not going to leave our made in Framer or Webflow or Wix banner in a website that we're delivering to our customers. We're not doing this. So we have this design and that's it. So this is an overall website that was made for them or built by them. So the clinic, they don't have a picture. Okay, that's good. On services, they do have lots of pictures, but they are very flat, square pictures thrown in there with no description or nothing. I cannot click to find out more, to understand prices, anything. Meet the team. Now the team, we can understand that Dr. Diego has a lot more experience than Doctora Veronica. And then the contact information is also there. Okay, this is not the greatest web. If you are the owner of this web, I offered to make it for free because I'm using this web in my video. So if you send me a message or you leave a message down here below, I promise I will make you a 21st century real website. Thanks for allowing me to use your web. Okay, let me show you what we need to do and what we don't need to do. What we don't need to do is something similar to this, and what we need to do is allow me to book a service right in there. Because this is giving more job to the professional. It's just people calling on the phone like all times. And what good is a web if it doesn't work for you, right? To contrast from this real example, let me show you what a real dentist web from this century should look like. So this website we built using a free template from Framer. And the most difficult part, believe it or not, is this little piece that is here. This is the booking engine, which is the more critical part of the whole web. This one is beautiful. It embodies confidence, trust, modernism, everything. But without this tool here, it will be nothing. So let me show you what it is. It's something that allows me to choose the date that I want to go based on the availability of each dentist that you can set up and customize to your liking. It allows me to select the professional if I want to, or this part cannot be displayed on the component if you don't want it. Then I can choose the desired time, again, depending on the availability. And then your customers, the dentist, the owner of the clinic, is gonna love this. You can upsell things. You might know that whenever you go into McDonald's or Uber Eats or Pizza Hut or whatever, you can buy additional drinks, additional fries, additional toys, additional donate money to whoever. So this upselling trend is something that is very powerful and it increases the average ticket. So here we can upsell. If you're going for a regular consultation, how many people will click yes to teeth whitening? I will click yes. And then dental clinic. Oh, and there's multiple options. So we can include different types of add-ons, individuals and groups. And then we can add promo codes like this one that you see here. And then we can also add terms and conditions that are real terms and conditions of this web. Because being a professional dentist, you might require these terms and conditions to fulfill the law of your country. And after that, we can leave our data here. And more importantly, we can pay. Because what is a booking without a payment? It's just a commitment of somebody that you don't know. Many people is afraid of charging before the services, but I mean, if a customer don't want to pay for your dentist appointment, it means that he's not sure that he's going. Why would you save time for somebody that is not sure? All right, but the job of a real booking system doesn't end there, because right now the booking is made, but can it be managed by the customer? Did the customer get a reminder? Is there an address link in the confirmation email? All of these things needs to also be managed. So if you're thinking that building a booking system is just building a calendar, it's a little more complex than that. But don't get nervous, because we're gonna do all this super fast. Let me check what happens after the booking. So I got an email here. Hi Felix, smile. I'm Felix. So we can customize the name, we can customize how this thing behaves inside. So we see that the dentist is dentist number 2, that the service is clinic service, and then there is some manage URL. By the way, all this message is customizable, it's a template, and it can behave differently for every type of customers, every type of service, anything. Anything in Bookla is super customizable. I'm just giving you an overview of what a real booking system does. So right now we have this, and for the sake of the dentist, he doesn't need to pick up the phone and refund every single time, fight with the customer. This cancellation policy is made by us. We set the 95% refund. We set the allowance of rescheduling, and then we set the cancellation policy ourselves. We also added our working hours and details here. And if we wanted, we could add a QR code to this email. So everything is handled by Bookla. From the promo code all the way to the cancellation policy, everything. What we're doing today is turning this thing into this thing. Very easy challenge. It will not take us more than 20 minutes. We're gonna go fast, you're gonna learn. And if you have any doubts, don't forget to leave them down here in the comment section. Anybody from the Bookla team will reach out and answer every single one of them. Step 1 is going to Framer and finding a free template that matches our project. I'm gonna find one for dentist that is free, and we're gonna use this one that is free. Okay, we're gonna click here, use for free, and we already did 98% of the design job. So here you can change the colors of the theme by just editing the color palette of the whole web by itself. So if we edit this color and we decided to make it blue, then as you can see, the whole web becomes a blue pattern. And then the images, you can replace them with the real images of the doctors. And if the doctors don't want to have nice pictures like this, just tell them to send you a picture of their face, ask AI to make a nice dentist portrait of these people and put it there. Very easy. You already have the design done. Now let me show you how to add the booking component into the web. So we're gonna add it here in the main page on this part that it says expert dental treatments. So let's see how this web looks when we play the real scenario, right? Let's make it wider to understand. And then we see that this part is following us all over. So this is a very nice place to drop our booking component. Let's go ahead and do that right now. We need to find the Bookla plugin first. It's the first thing that we need to do. So we're gonna click here on plugins, browse all, and then we're gonna click on browse all because chances are you don't have it installed. So browse all plugins, and then we're gonna type Bookla. The first one that appears here on the left, we're gonna click there, and now we're gonna click open plugin. It's gonna ask you where you wanna drop this plugin, so it's gonna give you the name of all your projects, and then you're just gonna click there, and it will appear. There it is. Now, once that we have this, it's very important that you choose the right type of component because Bookla has multiple types of bookings. Basically, one type of booking per service that it can exist. So we have all the different variables. Today, we're gonna be working with fixed. So we click there and it will appear here. Now we can close the plugin already. To make it more simple, I'm just gonna click here, identify the layers. So I see that is this title label here. And then I'm gonna replace this with the Bookla working component. Also gonna delete the button because we don't need it. And we have our component there. Now it's just a matter of styling a bit and adding different width and sizes to all this. So if you click on the component, you can edit it here like any other Framer component. And I will explain a little more whenever we finish creating all the services that we need. So far we already have the booking component inside the web. It's working good, it's staying there as we like it, and then we can also go ahead and add the branding color. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is on the item, I'm gonna add the brand color of the web by clicking here on this accent one right there. And then other things that I can change to make it feel more native to the web is change the color of the button itself. So I'm gonna also choose this accent one. Only with these few changes, we already made this component look more native, but you can change the font, the color, the size, the padding, the border radius, everything that you need. I also like to set it to small component because it allows me to have more things in there. Okay, now we're ready here on the framer. Just feel free to change all the pictures, all the colors, and do everything you need to a template because it's pre-designed, it will save you a lot of time, and it will come out very beautiful. For the second part of this thing, we need to go into Bookla. So we're gonna go there right now, and then we're either gonna create an account or sign in. So we go to bookla.com, and we sign in. Whenever we are done setting up the Bookla company, it should have these resources and services. So I have a brand new one here to illustrate how yours will appear. So you have this brand new platform here, and we need to add the services and the resources. I like to start with the resources because they are the entity that provides the service. If it was an English teacher, it will be the teacher. Dentist is the professional dentist, but if it was a tennis court, it will be the tennis court itself. Or if it was a jet ski rental, it will be the jet ski. So we're gonna name the dentist Kevin Hart. So we have the first resource, and then we need to add the working hours of this resource. So let's say that this doctor works from Tuesday to Friday, only 4 days, from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. So we already gave this resource working hours. That's all we need to do. We could add a closing period whenever he's gonna go on vacation, but the rest of the setups, we don't need to be concerned. Now, let's add another one. It's gonna be Mia Patel. And we also need to add the working hours of Mia. So she works from Monday through Saturday. She's a very hardworking woman. And then she starts from 10, but she finished early. At 2, she is already going home. So we have 2 resources. Now we need to add the services. So for this example, I'm gonna call it dentist consultation. Because of a personal experience building website for dentists, they usually like to have a more open booking. They don't like to have a specific service booking. So we're going to do dentist consultation. The service type will be fixed. Flexible refers to the type of booking that you can increase the amount of time as you book. For example, home cleaning, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. Tennis court, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. In this case, it will be fixed because the dentists know that the general consultation usually lasts 1 hour. Whenever he has an operation, he will book the time himself not to be available in the calendar. Now we need to choose the duration of this service. So let's say it's 1 hour for standard, and then the booking policy is instant. So whenever you click make booking, the booking is made. If it requires confirmation, then the professional itself or the assistant needs to confirm, and then whenever it requires prepayment, as soon as you pay, it will be confirmed. So for now, let's leave it instant, and then we'll change later on. By the way, payments are not mandatory, they're just highly recommended. Now we have the dentist consultation that we can link with our 2 different dentists, with Kevin and with Mia. Okay, so now we have the resource and we have the service. Now we need to give it a price. The first thing we need to do is to choose a currency. So let's use US dollars, and then the type of tax. This is the type of tax that is required by your state or your country. So let's say that is 15% inclusive. And now we need to add the pricing rules. And I will show you a few tricks with this, so pay attention. Let's say that the general consultation will be $80. So $80 every single day, we're not touching anything else, so this price will apply to this service every single time. Be aware that it has a priority of number 1. Now, On the Saturdays, because Mia Patel is working, it should be more expensive. So let's add a second price rule. And this time it will be 110. Now the priority will be number 2 because this rule needs to overrule the other rule, or needs to override. Now it's going to be limited by days. So Saturdays, it will be more expensive. And then we create this rule. As you can see, we can limit this by resources. So we can select a resource and both of them can have a different price. So you can do whatever you like. You can charge by overnight, by allocating a time constraint of the day. So whenever it's past 6 p.m. it's going to be a higher price. You can do whatever you like. So for now, let's leave it like this. Metadata, we don't need to do anything with it. It's just to send and fetch more information whenever we need it. And then for settings, we have the instant that we can change to prepayment or confirmation. And then we have the availability period, which is by default, it's available. The duration time of the service, we can also customize, and then the time interval, because this indicates when people can arrive. So can you book at 10, at 11, at 12? This is 1 hour interval. If you had 15-minute intervals, then you will be able to make a booking at 10, 10:15, 10:30, 10:45, so on and so forth. So with all these things, we are ready to test. What happens if you don't have a web and you want to test Bookla? Very simple. We're going to test it in the Bookla styler. So we go to component.bookla.com and then we're going to open up our styler. Here we can play, mix, match, and then just make sure that whatever we are building, it's going to work properly. To test the styler, we need to link it with the real Bookla company, same as we need to do in Framer later on. So pay attention to this step. First, we need to choose the region of our server. My server is in Europe, so I'm going to choose Europe. And then we need an API key. We need a company ID and a service ID. Let me show you how to get those. For that, we need to go back to the Bookla platform, and then we're going to click here on developers. On developers, we're going to create here API key. We need to give it a name. Let's call it dental clinic. And then very important that you only choose client access. If you enable any other type of access, then you're gonna have this API key with more access than you need, and people can edit your bookings and all these type of things. Very important that we save this in a secure place. So I'm gonna create a new note here and then have my API key there. API for dental. Okay. Now we have the API key that we can go ahead and put right here already. Where is the company ID? Also in Bookla. So we're going to click here on their company, and then on the top there is these little squares, and then we can copy the ID from there. Same scenario with the service ID. Back to Bookla, we find our service, and then we copy and paste. Boom, magic. Now, whenever we have this, we can already start testing. So on the Sunday, it will not be working. On the Monday, it will be working. So we have availability at 10, 11, 12, and 1. Because remember, Mia works only until 2. On the Tuesday, both of them are working. So now we can have the full availability of them. But what happened on the Saturday? The next Saturday, so you see the price is 110. But on the Friday is 80. So you can have dynamic pricing, very simple. Now we can select the dentist, and we have Kevin Hart and we have Mia Patel, both of them with the same price. But if you choose Kevin, as you can see, there is no availability on Saturday, but there is availability for Mia. Any resource, select resource. We don't like those titles, right? So because everything in Bookla can be customized, we're gonna go and we're gonna customize it. There is a lot of things that you can change. I'm not gonna go over all of them, but for example, in the resource one, I can type select dentist. Select your dentist. And as you can see, select your dentist, and then instead of any resource, we can say any professional. And then you can either choose Kevin, Mia, or any. So with all this, basically you have a proper booking system that is working. So you can make a booking here, you can continue, leave your data, and then you can make a full booking. So booking there, booking is confirmed. And then where is my booking? My booking is right here under bookings. So if I go to bookings and I look for the date that I made this booking, we're gonna find it there. I made it for the Saturday 23rd. And then you can do all kinds of things. You can export this data, contact the customer, many things you can do. Okay, so we have the booking confirmed. Now what? Well, now we need to make this into a real nice website, because this is not enough for the dentist. Now we need to add upsells, notifications, payment gateways, promotional items, and very importantly, the cancellation and rescheduling policy, because we're doing a professional service. Okay, let's go back to the Bookla, and the place in which we take care of all of those is right here under plugins. So we're gonna click on add plugins, and the first thing that we're gonna take care of is payments. It's very simple. I'm gonna use Stripe because I think it has one of the best interface. And then once that we're here on the plugin, we're just gonna click Stripe and then start connecting. For start connecting, we need a secret key from Stripe. How to get that one? So we're gonna go to stripe.com. We're gonna log in or sign in. And once you're in the panel, you're gonna click on developers, API keys, and then click here on the secret key. This is our secret key, and we're gonna put it right there. Now we need a success, failure, and cancel redirect for the after payment redirection of the services. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the home page for now. Great. Now for the failure and the cancel, I'm gonna use this 404 error page. So I'm just gonna copy this link and put it right there. Now, if you wanna get very creative with Bookla, you have these advanced settings, and under advanced settings, it enables you to do a URL templating. What it means is that every time you send a payment on the URL, you can have a lot of different data. So it's a whole nother topic. There is a full tutorial on it, but if you're interested on populating a CRM or displaying any other variable in the success page, or just using it to send data from one place to another, it's ideal to do it like this. That way you can just feed your CRM every time somebody makes a payment. But for now, we have enough to connect our payments. So we took care of payments very quickly. Now we're gonna take care of cancellation policy right here. Booking rules. We're gonna add the booking rule. And again, we're gonna click on the plugin and we're gonna set it up very simple, like everything on Bookla. So new cancellation rule. We need to give it a name. I'm gonna call it cancellation policy. If you select a service, if you had more than one, like let's say tooth extraction or whatever, then this cancellation rule can apply differently for different services. So you can have different ones for different services. It's amazing. Now, how many hours before the service is provided, I'm willing to give X percentage of refund. So this is the only thing that we need to be concerned with. So by default it's 24 hours, 100%. But we want to make it a little more strict. So 48 hours, you get 95%. You could do this if you want. So let's say 48 hours, you get 100%. Let's add another rule. 24 hours, you only get 80%. And then anything less than 24 hours, let's say 12 hours, you will get 30%. So I'm only doing this so you see how much you can customize Bookla. But ideally, you have 1 or 2 parameters. Okay, so now we create the rule and we need to add a rescheduling rule. So we click here on create rescheduling rule and we call it rescheduling policy. Same services, we're gonna leave empty. And then if you want to reschedule, I will allow it up to 30 hours before the booking. If it's 29 hours before, then you will not be able to reschedule. Or we can allow it up to 12 hours before the booking, depending on how flexible your doctors are. So we create the rule, and then finally we need to add contact details. So we need to add a support email, we need to add a phone number, and then we need to add a message, or we can add a message. Nothing is mandatory. So we can say working hours, so for them to understand when we're picking up the phone, right? Working hours. So working hours Monday through Friday, 10 to 16. And we create. Now we have the cancellation policy. Now let's take care of more things that we can do here with these plugins. The essentials, the notifications. This is one of the main things that we need to do to provide a professional system to our customers. Now, email notifications work as follows. We have merchant, clients, and reminders. These are all template holders. They will hold a template, and then we have variables inside of those templates. For example, let's create a template for a client. We need to make sure that client is selected because this is how the system will start triggering events to send this message. So the event type is confirmed. Every time the booking is confirmed, clients will receive this email. But as you can see, we have a lot of different types that can trigger different emails. The subject line, this is unique to all of them, but we can use variables to customize. So I always like to use this first name variable, and then these bracket letters will take the place of the real data. Let's say hello, and then the first name. Hello, Felix, your appointment, let's call it appointment. Your appointment is confirmed. And then we can have, Dear Felix, what if I wanted to use the last name? I'm gonna teach you where to find the rest of the data. So we're gonna go into docs.bookla.com. There is unlimited, well, almost unlimited amount of data here. And then if we go to plugins and then email notifications, for example, notification creation. And then there is a lot of info again, but I am concerned with the variables and I see the variable for the last name of the customer. So I'm gonna copy this and just put it right in the template. Hi, client's last name, and then client's first name. I already see a mistake there. Only because I do this a lot, I can spot it. But beware of the amount of brackets that you have in your variables, because as I didn't copy the brackets correctly, I can see that I was missing one here and then I'm missing one here. So the email is not gonna work properly. Now it's all nice. Your appointment has been confirmed. Your appointment has been confirmed. And then we have not resource, let's call it professional. This will be the name of our resource. And then the service, we don't need to add it because we only have one service. And then the start date, the start time, and the end date. We can get rid of the end date. Now, here we're gonna do a lot more. Remember the first example I showed you, we had manage URL. So if you need to modify your appointment, click here. Where? We're going to the notifications, and then we have here the manage URL variable. Beware that we can only include this after we set up payments. Otherwise, there is nothing to refund. Well, we can manage rescheduling, but yeah, it needs to have booking rules established in order to work. And then we can add an address link. Our clinic is located here. Where? Let's just get any link from this nice building over there. And we're just gonna put it back in our email there. And then thanks for choosing us. Great, so we took care of notifications. If we click here, it's gonna attach a QR code, more concerning with type of activity bookings templates, but we can create a template. In the same way we created this template, we can create one for the merchant, so every doctor will get a different email every time somebody books. If we want that, we can create reminders, so every patient or every customer will get a reminder X amount of hours before we want to. So let's say that we want to remind them 24 or 25, whatever, you get the point. And then the subject, we can also modify it as we did with the email, and we can modify the body of the email itself. So we cover notifications already. Let's take care also of promo codes, because I believe everybody can benefit from promo codes nowadays. So let's add the promo codes there, and let's just customize them very quickly. The first thing, we need to create the code. So let's go ahead and call it code, just to be very specific. Now we need to add a title. Discount promo code. Description is not mandatory, and then here we can either provide a discount based on percentage or based on a fixed amount. I like to provide it on a fixed amount. So let's say that this is gonna give you $40 off. So we type the $40 and we can choose the usage type, single use, unlimited use, however we like to do it. And then we can add different rules per different services. This in the case that we want to provide this promo code only for teeth whitening because there is a lot of margin there, but we don't want to provide it, or maybe we want to provide a lesser discount for cavity fixing or whatever, right? So we create the promo code and it's all working nice. We can come back here to our Bookla styler. There is the styler. And we can test it again. But before we can test it, we need to enable a few things. The first one is the promo codes right here. We enable the promo codes and now we should be able to see it. So let's go ahead and book this and the promo code is there. Code is working. If we continue, everything else should be also working, the payment and the email. There is one more trick that is very nice to add to any of our customers, meaning the owner of the business that we're building the web for. So let's go back to Bookla and use the add-ons. This is a star plugin in my opinion, because every single business is doing upsell and every single person is buying the upsells, because even me, when I'm buying a pizza and I see extra whatever, just €2 or just $2, buy it. Okay, enough talking. Service add-ons. We're gonna click there and then create add-ons. There is two types of add-ons. There is an individual add-on like teeth whitening. You cannot get 2 or 3 or 4. You can just get one. And then there is group add-ons like flavor of your mouthwash. You could also sell these type of things, right? So create add-on. Let's create a single add-on and let's call it teeth whitening. Description is optional. We need to add a price. I don't know how much it is. $200 sounds good to me. Always it's nice to match the taxes so you don't get in trouble with the IRS or whatever authority taxes. And then we can add a maximum quantity to the purchase. So I like to add 1 because you cannot buy more than 1. Instead of allowing you to add multiple, it will just have a check mark, right? Create. Now let's add another add-on. It's an add-on group. And we're gonna call it dental hygiene. And then we can add different types of cleaning. For example, normal, regular, extensive. For those, we need the following. We need group members. By default, we have 2 group members, but if you needed another member, you can just add it here and you can even delete it there. So we're gonna call the first member standard cleaning, and it will have a price of $100. With a 15% tax included. And now we're gonna call the other one extensive cleaning. It's gonna be $200 and the same tax ratio, right? So now we have the additional things. Let's be more creative. Something that I always wish there was in the dental office. So let's call it local numbing cream. Local numbing cream, right? So we can add it there. The price will be $40. Great. Additional service that you can sell as a doctor. And then we could do a drop down add-on if we wanted to add flavor to the numbing cream, mint, whatever. So we have this. Next step is just we link them to the service. So since we only have dentist consultation, we're gonna link all of these 3. And then we're gonna link the add-on. We need to link one by one, not to make any mistakes. Great. By the way, you can set any of them require, and then if it's required, then people need to choose it before. Right now, we are not doing any of this. As a matter of fact, yes, we're going to do it. So this local numbing cream, let's unlink it and delete it. And then in the add-ons, we're gonna make something nice so you can see. Let's create a group add-on, and then we're gonna call it analgesic type. Analgesic is a real word? Yes, it is a real word, and it means numbing or reducing the pain, nothing else. So the first one will be no analgesic, and it will cost 0. The second one will be numbing cream, and it will cost $40. And the third one will be fully asleep. Let's call it like that. And this will cost $500. Believe it or not, there will be people that will pay $500 to be fully asleep to get a cavity fix. So we create it and then we link it. Great. Amazing. So we have everything, so we can go ahead and incorporate it inside the web. And if there is something that we didn't take care of, we'll just come back here and take care of it. Right, so let's go back to our Framer site then and take care of our booking component. It's pre-styled, so the only thing we need to do is link it with our Bookla real component. So we click here on Bookla, we choose the region, same as we did with the styler. The API key that we have somewhere here. Great. The company ID that we have somewhere here. And then we also need the service ID that we have here also. Great. Now, things that are important. So all of this is done for styling. Do we want to leave them to select the dentist? Yes or no? If we didn't want to, we could just disable that part, but let's enable and change the name to select professional. And then any professional. Great. Now we need to enable the promo code field, and then we also need to enable the add-ons. So now we have it. Let's go ahead and see how it's looking. So any professional, Kevin Hart, he's not working until Tuesday, so we can catch him at 10. Do I want any add-ons? Kevin Hart is going to be delighted. So I'm going to select the dental hygiene that I like, the type, the analgesic type. So as you can see, this one has no analgesic, so it doesn't add up anything to my booking. Something that I'm going to fix really quick here, and then I might be doing this often because we like to be perfectionist, is just to change the width of the component itself. There, perfect. Yeah, much better, nice. Okay, so everything working good. Select analgesic, and then we wanted to make this require, to force people to consider the option of selecting an analgesic. And I know for you developer it's not relevant, but it should be, because this is what you can tell the business owner, and then you will be a superstar. Business owners have zero idea of what can be done in a web and how everything works. So if you make this part require and you explain to him that whenever people sees this, they're gonna have the option, or they're gonna need to say, I don't want any analgesic, or I want it for an extra price, he's gonna increase his revenue. And this is what they want to hear from you as a professional. So here, the analgesic type, we're gonna make it require. Now, this analgesic type is required. Something else that can be required is additional information. So if we click on our component back on Framer, and we click on custom forms, and then we click here on fields, and we add additional field, we can add a field to require more information, and it can be text, number, multi-selection. So let's call it describe your problem. It will be a text type, and then we can have a placeholder that says my teeth hurt, for example. Now we have an additional form. I guess with these changes we can update and publish. Here we go. Pay attention. So we have this nice booking component with a $80 on the Monday, 110 on the Saturday. Dynamic pricing, check. Select your professional, check. Time, availability of the date, check. Additional items to sell, check. We can call these add-ons, we can name it additional items, choose your addition, or also you can see this. Whatever text you see on this booking component, you can change. So now this one, analgesic type, is required. And we must choose this one. There is a 0 value for people not to feel like we're forcing them to choose, but it will make them think, oh, I want some numbing cream. Then you can choose all the add-ons that you like, and we can input the promo code. Promo code working perfectly. Now let's continue. Now we have this describe your problem, and it has an example that says my teeth hurt. Now let's go ahead and make the payment and finalize this booking for you to understand how everything works. Great, my teeth are not so white. Okay, now we need to pay. Every time you're using Stripe Sandbox or testing environment, you can use 424242 as your card, any date in the future and any 3 numbers, and it will work. Amazing. So far, everything on the booking flow is working, is beautifully made for the customer, and now we just need to check one more thing. Is the email working properly? Yeah, we got the email right here, right now. And then it says, hi Felix Perez. Both variables for first and second name are working. And then professional, Mia Patel, great. And we have the manage URL. If I want to manage this, I can cancel with 100% rescheduling because it's May 23rd, enough time in the future. I can also reschedule. So this is amazing piece of coding, machinery, IT that you just develop in front of the eyes of this dentist. We also have the information that we provided. Perfect. What else do they need? Now, this is a true booking website compared to our original example of a dentist website. So we did made a great job, and I told you it wasn't gonna take long. Well, by now you should be an expert in building dentist booking website. But if by any chance you still have any questions, please leave them down here in the comments. We'll reply to all of them. To your friend that's still struggling to build this booking website, please send them this video. And if you found this video helpful or interesting, please share a like with us. Don't forget to subscribe to the Bookla channel so you can stay up to date with the latest releases. Thanks a lot for watching. See you next time.